Welcome, everyone. This is episode 12 of Where Are You Shopping in Your Relationships? I'm Mariquita Solis, and alongside my co founder, Linda Tilson, we are the creators of The Last First Date. Today, we are opening the door to a highly sensitive topic that quietly erodes the foundation of countless couples: the pressure to comply to keep the peace. So, today's episode is the dynamics of duty when intimacy becomes a transaction. So, we're going to look at what happens when you're asked to participate in expressions of intimacy that do not align with your true desires, that feel off, right? This could be forcing you to choose between self-abandonment or relational conflict. So, when connection is treated like a retail exchange, you might find yourself paying a price that you can't afford to pay just to maintain the peace and keep the relationship, right? You might be threatened by, like, if you don't do this, then I'm going to leave the relationship. So, we're going to be diving straight into how to spot the difference between genuine mutual desire and fear based compliance, and how to protect your relational sovereignty with absolute integrity, how to stand up for what you want in your relationship. So nobody's getting cornered into doing things that they don't want to do, right? And we're talking about in the bedroom and beyond, right? So we have choices for ourselves and choices if we want to please our partners, but they have to be in alignment, right? We can't just throw away what we believe in to please our partner if it doesn't feel right. And our body is telling us that it's always telling us, yes, this feels right or it does not feel right. So, what happens when your partner wants you to do something physically intimate that you don't want to do and you feel stuck, right? Choosing between making them happy or doing what feels right for you. You might feel like, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose this person. And I've been there before thinking, oh my gosh, this is not what I want to do. This is not okay with me. What am I going to do? Right. So, and giving in and just saying, doing it and and doing it because you want to stop the argument or to avoid making your partner upset, or you think, I've got to hold on to this relationship. That is not intimacy. That is not real emotional intimacy. That is not closeness, right? If you feel like you're not allowed to say no, a simple, clean no, without a huge fight or having to abandon it, or just simply saying, this doesn't feel right, and to have your partner respect that, then something is off, right? Because if we're turning relationships into a business deal, like, I'll do this for you and you do this for me, right? And if you don't do this for me, the relationship's over. Well, that's not a safe space anymore. That's a transactional relationship. So, Linda, what do you think about this? When someone's emotional safety over time, right? When it's being eroded because they're just crossing their own lines to make their partner happy. What's your wisdom here?
I'm glad that you asked me that question, Mariquita, because really what you're describing is doing things that aren't in agreement with us for our partner in moments of intimacy in the bedroom. It doesn't stop there. Unfortunately, it happens all throughout the relationship. It's just that particular area becomes the one where you're behind closed doors. And, when you're being intimate with somebody in that way, you people do generally want to make their partners happy, meaning the time that you spend with them, the things that you do, but it has to come from a mutual place and space, right? And so when we are um, putting ultimatums out there, I need you to do this for me, and if I'm going to do this thing that you also want. Well, there are times where you do make compromises, but this isn't what we're talking to. We're not talking about compromising. We're talking about things that aren't something that feel good in our body. And then we're left in this place. Do we do it to save the peace, or do we stand in our firm grounding and advocate for ourselves? No, don't want to do this thing. It feels uncomfortable. You, you know, there's a time and a space for that conversation. And what I would say is anytime, man or woman, the partner in the relationship, if you have to push that thing that you really want, and the person in the relationship feels really uncomfortable about doing it, then you're not bringing the person closer to connection. You're actually going to be driving them away. And so, really, the way that I look at this um, is reconstructing that, reconstructing that conversation by saying, it really feels uncomfortable for me to do said thing, and I do love you. This isn't about whether I love you or not. This is about me, and I don't feel comfortable. Let's see what we can do to, find a middle ground, something that is good for you and good for me. And just know that it's not because I don't love you, that there's a reason why I'm saying no. And because if you don't stand in that ground and you continually do the thing to save the peace, because that's usually, it's like, do I do it to appease the conflict from reoccurring later down the road? So sometimes when we don't get what we want, we become passive aggressive. Let's say, for example, that's a very, I mean, I can see that most people can relate to that. And really, if you can get beyond that, it's going to be hard when you have to tell somebody no. And I would advocate by starting with, I love you very much. I know that you would like me to do said thing. I'm not comfortable doing it. Let's see where we can come to this other place, and do that. Then I'm not going to be resentful because I decided to please my partner and do it anyway. And so that saves that. And then two, by speaking to it, the other person's not becoming resentful or angry or frustrated because I'm just blowing it off and not addressing it. You know, even that can cause conflict. So I guess what I would also like ask you, Mariquita, is when someone is starting to, push your boundaries, and how does that going to ruin the trust? And is the desire still going to be there behind closed doors, even when you address this, even you know when when you stand firmly? What's going to happen? Do you think?
Well, I think, I mean, for my own experiencing doing things that I didn't want to do, um, whether it's in the bedroom or out of the bedroom, I think feeling bad about myself, like I would feel guilty that I let myself down. I would feel like it was like poisoning me. Like I had to question myself. Why did I do that when I didn't want to do it? And why does my partner not care about if I did speak up and they kept saying, "Oh, come on, let's do it. Come on, do it, do it, do it." And I would give in. Why am I with someone that is not respecting me? And that just made me feel horrible. And it made me question, does this person really care about me or not? I mean, it's hindsight is great now because as I look back, I think as a young woman, what was I thinking about certain choices I made? And they would never, I mean, right now, I feel sorry for that young woman that made choices that went against what she believed in. And I wouldn't do it again. So if anyone's out there, it's not worth it. And to really think about you and you come first. You deserve to be respected. And so and asking yourself, is this person respecting me, my wishes? Are they listening to me? Do they care about how I feel? Right? And so it's so important when we're thinking about these things. So and people can give you the silent treatment. They can be angry. So there, it doesn't have to be, they don't necessarily have to be screaming. They'll just shut you out. Right. So, and that hurts. That hurts. And that's another time to think, is this really the relationship I need to be in, or what's going on here? Right. And that's very manipulative when they're trying to make you're standing in your ground, making you feel or trying to manipulate you into feeling bad and guilty so you won't do it again. So really thinking about what is going on here, taking a step back, what do I need? And is my partner listening? Do they care? How is this going to affect me if I do it? How am I going to feel about myself? So Yeah, there's a lot of layers here. So, Linda, how can someone tell the difference between a partner who's just temporarily disappointed versus a partner who is actively using that silent treatment to control them?
That's a really good question. And you're right, this does have a lot of layers to it. And so, disappointment might show up in a person being a little more quiet, maybe a little bit less engaged and attentive for a bit. And that's normal when we don't get what we want. We do get disappointed. Um, but what for me makes it different is if someone's actively doing the silent treatment as a means to manipulate or control another person into doing what they want, that shows up slightly differently. Okay. And so the variation of that is when that happens, it feels like you're being punished and that you can't actually express what you feel. And you're going to feel that in your body, definitely when someone's giving you the silent treatment and they're not saying anything. Um, and, it becomes that place of being unsafe because why, if your partner loved you, why would they make you feel like you're not safe enough to express what it is that you need? And you said, when you express that something's not all right with you, there should be some empathy and concern that's taking place, not this person is like withholding from me because of XYZ. And I would say that when you're holding the line, when you say it's not okay and they're disappointed, okay, there needs to be some time that takes place. So you don't want to mistake that maybe not responding right away, but a day or so, that's normal. And you shouldn't have to like over explain yourself and give a long laundry list of why something's not okay with you. Now, you do, I think, need to give some kind of description of how it maybe is not sitting well with you, just so they can visualize and see it to understand. But no, do you need to go through a debate and list all the 5 to 10 reasons of why it's uncomfortable and why you're not going to do it and end a story? We're not talking about it anymore. No, you don't need to do that. And one of the things that you could say is that I can see that you're disappointed with this, and I'm sorry you feel that way. However, this isn't going to work for me, and I think you can also like acknowledge them for even bringing it up. So in a healthy way. If they go down the road where they're trying to make you feel guilty or make you feel punished, just know that that's how they're dealing with it. That's not how you deal with it. And you said this really clearly, Mariquita. You said that you would feel guilt or when somebody would pin you down on not doing something, and so it's moving through that. I'm not going to feel guilty. This is where I stand. I voiced it to my partner. I mentioned that I can see they're disappointed, and then asking where we can have a discussion to come to something that would be good for both of us. It may not be perfect because we can't always please everybody, and so it's okay to know that you're not going to please even your partner in all circumstances. Because I can think of a situation that happened to me recently, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm not going to do what you want, and therefore you're going to do this thing, which was to not do a thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we need to come back and address this. So sometimes it just means knowing that frustration is going to happen and you're going to address it later. So I guess I would ask you, Mariquita, what can someone tell themselves in that moment to stop the intense guilt that comes with standing up for their own comfort? For you, because you brought up that you would feel guilt, and so what would you personally do?
Well, I think there needs to be some awareness when you go into a relationship first. You have to be aware that these things are going to come up. And so you're ready for that right? Because if you're not ready and it comes up, then you're kind of like caught in the storm. But if you thought about it beforehand and said, there will be things that I don't want to do that I'm going to be asked to do. Where is my, where is my strength here? What can I do to be prepared? Like you can even say to your partner, let me think about that before you, if you need time to say no, if you need time to reach out to a friend, hey, Linda, I need your help. I need to say no, right? So can you help me? I'm going to come back to you. Give me some tips. What can I do? So if you need to take that time, if saying no is hard, just ask for some time to get ready for it, right? And remember that what how they react or how they respond to you is the test of their character. Right now, this is a big test. Are you able to stand up for yourself? Do you really want to stand up for yourself? Right? Are you ready to stand up for yourself? So that's the key thing. You want to be ready. You don't want to be caught in the storm without a game plan, right? And knowing, hey, when we start off a relationship, you know, that it's we are going to have disagreements, and that's just the way it is. So we're going to work together, right? There are going to be times that we have to have this kind of flexibility. So yeah, and you want someone safe that's not going to argue, debate you, or try to change your mind, right? So their reaction is really that it's going to tell you whether they value you or what you can give them, what they can get out of you. Do they really respect you? So it's really important that you prepare yourself, right? And get these so you are aware of what's coming. Like I said, you that ties back to knowing who you are, right? And what you want in your relationship before you go into it. Or if you're in the middle of a relationship, stop and think, is this relationship giving me what I need? What do I need? Are my needs being met? And ask your partner, are your needs being met? Right? So there's, like, again, there are many layers to this. So if it seems overwhelming, that's fine. Just take one layer at a time. So, all right. So Linda, what would you, what kind of question would you like to ask for the audience to think about? Because I know you're very good at coming up with questions to reflect on.
Well, yes, before I do that, I did want to say that the tip that you gave to our audience when you were talking about if something comes up and you don't know what to do in that certain circumstance about saying no or whatever your game plan is in that moment, you don't know, taking a pause and asking to come back later to discuss it is a great opportunity, especially if things get, tense and heated. Well, that's no one's going to listen at that point. So I think it's reasonable to say, let's come back and I need to think about this. It's always okay to do that. And then the second thing I wanted to acknowledge is that, Mariquita and I have lived experience with all of these different things that we're speaking to. And we're going to tell you first off that we don't always get it right. We get it wrong. Practice makes perfect. And, there are so many layers to this conversation that we could dive into. And so don't put it on yourself that, hey, I get into these situations and I don't know what to do. I shut down, or I say things that I don't mean, or I give in when I shouldn't. You know what? Part of this navigation is being able to slow things down when you're not in the middle of it and ask for a conversation. And you know what? I encourage people to write down some things that you want to discuss in the conversation. And what you referred to, Mariquita, was that you could say what you have as an unmet need. And then what I really liked what you did was you turned it around and you're going to ask your partner, do you have any needs that are not being met? Because you know what? When you can come to a place of reciprocity and like, I need this, and then your partner says, I need this. You know what? Sometimes you find out there's some simple things that we can do to meet the needs that it brings it to the awareness. But if you're always afraid of advocating for your needs and standing up for yourself, or you're afraid of letting someone down or getting hurt or getting into argument, you know what? Relationships are messy. you know, we can make it sound easy because we've experienced these things, and we coach individuals on how to go through the nurturing of relationships and what to do when there's conflict, how you come back and repair, which is why we have the workshop that was going on tonight. um, Seeing clearly is to have those skills. You don't get them overnight. The only way you get them is through them and practicing. And so that particular um, offering is now, the doors are closed. We can't accept any more people into today's workshop. But what I will say is the reflection question that I wanted to have all of you think of is, when you say no to your partner, do you feel completely safe and respected in your choice? Or are you secretly calculating the emotional price you're going to have to pay later? We touched upon this. So, there's two choices, two paths you can go down. And so you probably already know, as you're listening, that, you know, secretly thinking about how you're going to pay for your choice to advocate for yourself later, that shouldn't be it. Okay? If you're doing it right, you don't want to keep the peace to have it come back. No, you want to know you have respect from that moment. And if you're not being respected, then that's a whole different other issue. And you're going to have the conversation about what respect looks like to you. Okay?
Right. I wanted to say one thing. So let me just say this. If you said, yes, I will do this for you, and you feel like you made a decision, it's never too late to go back and say, no, I've changed my mind. Don't keep doing something that is not in alignment with what you want to do. If you've given in, per se, you can always say, I want to stop doing this. Don't keep on that path that's disrespecting who you are.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, if today's conversation has hit home with you, then we don't want you just to leave the thoughts here as you're viewing. We want to help you take action that will help you to build a real high integrity strategy for your dating life and beyond. Okay. So, one of the things that we wanted to share with you is a lot of life transitions and things that we're going through is all about decision making. So I want to share that on September 25th at 12 p.m. PST and 3 p.m. EST, we are running an experiential lab designed for people who are facing a real decision and are ready to move beyond overthinking, second guessing, and endless analysis. Okay, so I'm just going to share a few points that we're going to cover in that space. And so it's especially valuable for individuals that feel stuck between competing options or priorities, individuals that tend to overanalyze decisions or wait for complete certainty before acting, wanting to make choices that are aligned with their values rather than in fear, pressure, a habit that they've kept, or expectations. So, even in this conversation today, we have hit upon that one right there. We want to speak to recognizing that avoiding a decision is creating more stress than making one. So, advocating for yourself is a choice. And you want practical tools that you can use for future personal, relational, or professional decisions. So, if that interests you and you'd like to know more, go ahead and go out to our website, and we will share how you can join us for that experiential lab. And you'll be so glad that you did, because decision making with discernment is a lot about how we move through all of life's different transitions.
Right. So I hope you can join us, and please reach out to us and let us know what you would like to learn more about. Right. We don't know everything, but we do know some things. We've been through the ringer, and we're here to share. So you don't have to go through that ringer. So yeah, I I think this has been wonderful, Linda. So thank you for this, Linda, and everyone for watching. If you're watching on the replay, let us know what you thought. Make sure you comment and make sure you go check out our website, and we will see you soon on this channel. And make sure to subscribe and like, y'all. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye bye.